Guys, welcome back to the check-in. Thanks for checking in with me today. So today I want to talk about Thailand again. It's not really but I'm not really going to talk about culture as such. Not going to talk about immigration or really any political stuff like that, because it would get me into trouble. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to talk about is the climate here. Thailand is in Southeast Asia, just in case you didn't know, which I'm sure most of you do know. And it has, I believe it's like a tropical or subtropical climate. It has 3 seasons. That is the hot season, the very hot season, and the kill me now season. No, not really. There is the hot season, there is the rainy season or the monsoon season, and there is the cool season. Now back home in England we have 4 seasons, obviously spring, winter, spring, summer and autumn, which I miss, by the way. So the hot season over here, I believe the hot season starts around about February. Well, about February or March time, and it goes through all the way to about May. April, May. This is Bangkok, by the way. All various parts of town have, in many ways, very different seasons, or the seasons start at different times. Apologies for that noise. They're actually fitting a kitchen, so just let that finish. Yeah, that's why I have to put up with virtually every day here now, because there's so much work going on, not only in this house but the house next to us and other houses. Because it's basically, this area is like completely new. So, but in back, like I'm saying, just trying to ignore that noise. But in Bangkok, which is not why I'm not there now, but in Bangkok. You get a pretty severe hot season towards the end of towards the back end of the hot season. It does get very hot, and then you sort of start getting, the rain starts to pitter in a little bit, and then towards about May, June, you start to get a bit of rain, but it's only really until about now, really. August, September, sometimes into October, but no. Normally, it's the rainy season starts to sort of disappear around about October, November time. I mean, the severity of it really is in August and September, so, in previous years anyway. But this, to be fair, this year, why did they start to do this shit now? You know, of all the time they could have done this fucking work, and they decided to do it all of a sudden just now. Anyway. So, yeah, basically, the major part of the monsoon season starts here about August, September time. It can get pretty bad in September. I'd say about towards the end of October, the majority of the severity of the rainy season's gone, and then you've got the cool season towards about November, and that tends to take you through into about January. But really, it's only the cool season in Bangkok, from what I can remember, and from what it's been in the last couple of years, is around about the last 2 weeks of December. Going into January, it gets pretty cold. For Thailand, cold, that is. Now, why am I talking about the weather? Because I wanted to talk about something that I've noticed over here, and that just in general, really. You know, people say that the sunshine makes you happier, and in some ways, I think that's true because you know you can get out and you can do things and you want to do things because it's the weather's nice. But I think that it's good when you have different seasons, and I think when you have if you don't have too much of something or if you don't have too little, I think that's why I think Europe is very lucky in regards to climate. And of course, I know there's many different countries within Europe, but well, certainly Northern Europe, I'd say, okay, we have a pretty long winter, but I mean, apart from that, we have some really nice seasons. And okay, the summer's not, you know, not probably not long enough, but I think in some ways it's kind of it works and it's if we had this if we had the summer that's experienced well pretty much all year round over here, but if you had the kind of heat that you have over here or in parts of America or South America or you know parts of the planet that are around the equator, I think that a lot of people back home wouldn't be very. I don't think they could tolerate it. They'd end up moving away, I think. Which is apparently that's what's going to happen in the future. You know, the climate, the UK climate is going to. I think the temperatures are going to start to rise, but apparently we're going to have longer winters as well. Sorry, shorter winters, longer summers apparently. But I mean, I'll probably be dead and buried before all that starts to happen. I hope. In some ways, anyway. I mean, I do like the seasons in England, but I think my favourite season is probably autumn, really, because the temperatures start to cool down. You know, and those nice, rosy, comfortable, cosy colours, just really nice browns and yellows and reds and greens and stuff of the leaves as they start to die and fall off. I don't know. There's just something about that season for me. It's very sort of almost magical in a way. Maybe that's something to do with being when I was a child. I don't know, some kind of relationship there. I'm not sure, but it was. I've always loved autumn, and that's something I'm probably gonna, unless I go home this year, which is looking like a possibility. But it could be that I don't, so I'll miss another autumn. I think that does do something to you over time. I think being over here as a foreigner, any country, but certainly in a country that's developing, I think that there is a level of frustration that exists, especially if you're not planning, if you're not actually living here, if you don't actually have you don't have citizenship or anything that ties you down to the country. So you kind of you've got more and more reason to assimilate and to fit in, because as a tourist, as a foreigner that's here, even if it's just for a year, you can assimilate to a certain point, but until you actually live here like permanently, I don't think there's just things you just don't understand. You do not understand. You cannot understand, and you won't make an effort to understand. Now, when you're forced, when you live here, you're kind of forced to accept. Well, unless you decide to pack up and leave, but if you're mostly happy here, then there's a lot of things you kind of have to tolerate and put up with. That's not easy. And given that I've been here for a while, on and off, I've seen quite a bit of, I've seen a fair chunk of life over here. I've experienced, life of being myself and everything that entails, but also observing local people as well. Just as long as it's just not going to stop, is it? I picked a bad time to make this video. Anyway, never mind. But I'll try to continue. I think over time that the heat, the persistent heat, the never-ending torture, the hell that is, it's the humidity over here. It wears you down. It kind of tears away your soul after a while. And I can imagine that it does the same in a cold climate as well. A very cold climate, after a while, it kind of you get absolutely just sick to death of it. It's just, you just want to get away from it. But then again, having been away from Thailand for a while last year, part of this year, you kind of miss it after a while. So it's, whatever, you can never really fully enjoy anything, I don't think. Because you say you might dislike something, but then you take time away from it, and then you realise that you actually do like it. You just needed some time away. So sometimes it's not that you don't. It's not that you dislike something. It's just that you just need to take a break from it to realise that you still like it. And having watched people over here, I've seen that it, because a lot of them don't have enough money to really afford to have a serious holiday. Nothing. I mean, apart from the trip across to maybe a bordering country or somewhere not too far away on a plane, 5 or 6 hours away. But I think if you don't have the opportunity to really travel to the other side of the world and experience the climate, and even to Australia, parts of Australia where it's a bit cooler set times of the year, and more just a different climate, cleaner air. Just different culture, different people, different ways of life, different infrastructure. Sometimes different modes of transport or more advanced transport. It's very easy to get stuck in this very kind of like rigid box. I think it's important. I can't stress enough the importance of travel. It's like my uncle said. It's like, I think like 1 year of travel is like equal to about 2 or 3 years worth of university study, something like. I don't know whether that's true. I don't know, but you certainly do grow up a lot, and I think you definitely learn a lot very very quickly. Whether you like it or not, you just learn. Well, you're kind of forced to anyway, because you have to adapt to things so quickly, and you have to learn very very quickly about how things are run, and what you can and can't do. Which you should know anyway before you come to a country. But you certainly learn things the hard way if you don't, which I have in certain circumstances, which I won't go into. But yeah, the climate does do something to you. It does. It definitely it can really change you, and not always in positive ways. I would say that the positives of sunlight is it can give you more positivity, because, well, sunlight's good for you and you need it, because of the vitamins that apparently vitamins that associate with it. I believe, is it D, vitamin D or something? I could be completely wrong there. So there's obviously health benefits to having some sunlight and being, it's just more positive, I think. But also because like I said, you can be more active. You've got more light, so you want to get out there and do things. But that's kind of that's if you can tolerate the heat. And the problem is, over here the heat is so unbearable that you don't really want to be out in it, unless it's like late afternoon, early evening, or evening. But then the sun's gone, so it's I'd say really the best. The heat is just so blaring, and especially obviously towards middle part of the day, early afternoon. You can't be out in that. Anybody that is out in that is incredibly stupid, in my opinion, because it's just so blaringly. It's just in your face and incredibly hot. So the negatives, I think, are that it feels it's restraining in some ways after a while. It feels it's a kind of double-edged thing, because it's you can look out the window and it's like, oh, it's nice, you're in a nice air-conditioned room, but you're looking out the window, you think, I'd like to be out there, but it's too fucking hot. I mean, especially if you come from Europe, Northern Europe, or colder climate. It's just I can't. Well, for me, I can't bear it. I can't tolerate it. I can't cope with that kind of heat. So I don't go out in it much. Unless unless I absolutely have to, I don't bother. I don't go in it, because I can't. It just makes me miserable. So it works for some, it doesn't work for others. And especially when you see the people that work in the city, really work in the city, the central Bangkok, a lot of them look miserable. And especially when you're having to wait in hot, sweaty, humid climate for buses that are, not really as cool as they should be. The air condition doesn't work half the time, or if it does, it's not as effective. It's not as a lot of the buses aren't new here, and a lot of the buses don't even have air condition. So in some ways, life is hell for a lot of people that work in the city, and I think that's part of the problem as well. It's the lifestyle, and it is part of the culture as well. Problem is, Thai people don't speak up a lot of things. There's like I said before, there's a lot of saving face in this culture, and we won't really get into that. But I think that is part of the issue, in my opinion. The fact that it is the problem. Until Thai people are willing to confront issues and deal with issues, and the country will always be corrupt, and it will never change. Things will never change over here. So, which is a real shame, really. But that's Thailand, and it's their country. Let them deal with it. But I do love being in the sun sometimes, and I especially love the wet season. It's great, but just amazing cloud formations over here during the end of the wet, especially some of those huge storms you get when you can see them from a couple of miles away. I do apologise about this absolute racket. Anyway, look, I'm going to leave it there because this noise is clearly not going to stop anytime soon. So, welcome to Thailand, a country of obnoxious people and obnoxious noise part of the time. Actually, a lot of the time. See you later. Bye-bye.